Hey guys, welcome back to this week's pull here on Comic Relief Cast. I am your host Jake.
And I'm Josh. Hey Jake, tell these fine listeners, what are we reading?
Alright guys, as you can see you've clicked on the DC/independent portion for this week. Marvel had a lot to put out this week. DC, not so much. We decided to include a few of the indie titles, but what we're going over in this episode is Naomi from Wonder Comics issue 2, Justice League number 18, Catwoman number 8, Sharkey Bounty Hunter number 1, Teen Titans number 27, Stronghold number 1, and Batman number 65. And getting straight into it, Naomi issue 2 by Brian Michael Bendis, and I can always never remember this artist's name, and they never put it at the very beginning, so I feel bad because the artist is great. Oh, it's Walker and Campbell. There we go. I will say that the art in this book is beautiful. How did you put it? Because I thought it was perfect.
It's like if it's a comic book version of Pixar, like Pixar.
Pixar?
Yeah, Pixar.
Pixar?
Not
Yeah.
Pixar. Yeah.
It is. It's kind of like reading a book where all the illustration almost looks like a Pixar film. That's very close, or pretty right on. But actually, surprisingly, I'm liking these first two issues of Naomi. They're not great by any means, but what I get from this book is that Bendis is actually putting a little bit more, I think, love into this book, and I think it's because he identifies with it a little bit more. It hits a little bit closer to home for him, and so I can kind of feel the love in this book. I can really feel like Naomi does feel like a real character. Her parents feel like real parents, and what she's kind of going through, I mean, I can't relate personally, but it feels a lot more real. It doesn't feel as superficial as like his Superman stuff right now.
Yeah, this kind of reminds me of some of the older stuff that he used to do over at Marvel. Mm-hmm. It definitely has that feel. You can definitely sense that this is something a little bit more like him writing like what he knows, and with him and his wife being, people who have adopted kids, it makes sense.
Right.
Yeah. He kind of makes you wonder how much from this is he taking, like how much of like his kids talking, like his adopted kids talking to him,
right,
as he like kind of
how much
into this book.
Yeah, and how much is inspired by maybe interactions he's actually had with his daughter, and maybe what I think this kind of book is a fear that he might have as an adopted dad, that his parent or that his kids would want to know more about their biological parents, and that maybe he doesn't feel up to snuff as like an adoptive parent. So this book is kind of more about Naomi trying to figure out who her true parentage is, because she kind of lives in this very boring, mundane middle America town, and nothing exciting ever happens. Then Superman comes swooping in one day, and now her whole life's a little bit turned upside down.
Yeah, and it definitely seems interesting. I'm intrigued to find out what exactly, and it's definitely reeled me in. At first I was like, I really don't care about this kind of mystery, and but now after reading the first two issues, I'm kind of like, okay, now I'm intrigued.
Right.
I want to know. I want to know who her biological parents are. Right. It's like a movie in that sense.
Yeah, and it speaks to if you write a character well and it's fleshed out well, you can get a reader kind of on board with almost any premise, as long as they like the characters they're reading about. So I'm going to go ahead and unveil this episode's rating system, and I'm going to give Naomi issue 2 3.1 piggy bats.
I'm at 3 piggy bats.
All right. I'm going to move on real quickly to Justice League 18 by James Tynion, and I think it's Pascal Ferry. And this one is a Legion of Doom book, and it's all about Luthor and Brainiac teaming up, and Luthor talking about how he's already killed Vandal Savage, and it's all going back to the No Justice stuff and the Source Wall and Perpetua, if you guys read the Justice League Annual. Who's like the living embodiment of who created the universe, and what created the Source Wall and stuff like that, or actually what the Source Wall I think was actually trying to keep out. And it's all about interfacing, or Luthor and Brainiac interfacing their minds together, and and Brainiac is trying to keep Luthor at bay. He's like, I'm going to basically use you as a puppet, and Luthor's like, I'm going to outsmart you, and they come out friends, which feels really weird. I'm waiting for one to double cross the other, but I don't know. I honestly don't know why I keep reading this book.
I don't know why you do too.
I'm really not into it, and even as James Tynion's writing I'm not into it. I'm really not feeling Pascal's Ferry's art in this book either. I just do not think it complements it very well, especially with when you have guys like Jim Chung doing the art in some of these books as well. So I'm going to go ahead and give this book 1.85 piggy bats. I'm just not into the series, and I know a lot of people are, and that's great, but it's just not for me.
Yeah. I read Catwoman number 8. It's written by Joelle Jones. The art, though, is done by Elena Casagrande. My bad, guys. I'm horrible with names. And Fernando Blanco. So I really like the Catwoman series. This issue is still really good. Yeah, this issue is it's still good, but it's not my favorite. One, I miss Joelle Jones's pencils, like her art in it. But it just Penguin hires Catwoman to get the stone, and Miss Krill from the first story arc, is after the same kind of stone, after she's seen the qualities of what the stone can bring. And so Penguin hires Catwoman to get this stone too. It's really action-packed, and the pencils at times are great, but for the most part, it was just like, it was a little lackluster. But other than that, I mean, I still really enjoyed the book. I'm gonna give it, I'll give it 3 piggy bats.
All right, sounds like a lot of books lately this week are having to do with stones.
Yeah.
All right, moving on to Sharkey, Bounty Hunter #1 by Mark Millar and Simone Bianchi. And this is actually a pretty cool little book. I really dig this. Again, if Mark Millar's writing sensibilities appeal to you, then this is going to be something that I think you would really like. But it's kind of, think of like a character like Lobo, who's a bounty hunter, just kind of doing his sleazy thing, but he's also, he's space military. This is a book that takes place in space. It's kind of a Star Wars mixed with Lobo, mixed with something like The Nice Guys or something, with a little kid tagging along with him.
Like Nice Guys, or just like pretty much any movie from like the 80s or 90s where
right.
there's like a rough around the edges man who has to help a kid.
Right.
Kind of like Logan in a way.
Yeah, a little bit like exactly. Yeah, that's probably a better, more apt comparison is Logan. You got a kid who's good at what they do, and they're kind of in this instance, the kid is kind of just like the antithesis of who Sharkey Bounty Hunter is. But it's a cool little book. I don't want to give too much away. The art in this is beautiful. The colors are great. Simone Bianchi, I know I've seen her work on I want to say Thor before. I can't place it.
Thor, and then there's also now you got me stuck in it.
Yeah.
There's something over at Marvel though. I remember it's something that dealt with like Thanos and stuff.
Yeah, I know I've seen her artwork before, and I think maybe it's a guy actually. I don't want to. It might be.
What's it? Okay, I'm just gonna say this, but Thanos Rising could have been Thanos Rising.
I think it might have been
Jason
Thanos Rising.
Yeah,
that's a good call. But anyway, it's a cool little book, guys. I'm really enjoying this. If you guys have a light pull, which judging by what's coming out from Marvel, you might not, but this is definitely something that's worth looking into. I think it's only going to be a 6-issue miniseries again. But I really dug it. I think it's really cool, and it's gory, it's fun, it's a little bit more adult oriented. So I really dig it.
I think if you have a light pull. Or not even just if you have a light pull, but if you want a book and like you read a bunch of serious stuff and you want something a little goofy,
yeah,
this is a good book. I mean, it's a fun read. It has a lot of goofy stuff in it. It's just like all these like goofy movies that we've seen before, but it's like taken in space.
Yeah, I would say
Sharky's a guy that you just like, you go, I can kind of relate with him at times.
I like the guy. Yeah. I think I like it's Logan kind of meets the first Guardians of the Galaxy movie.
Kind of, yeah.
Something like that.
Yeah, I liked it. I thought it was fun. And it was kind of it's a little different than some Millar stuff. Millar stuff usually is pretty like detail oriented on the way the story is being told. It's very serious at times. This is just a fun, just like you can just tell he's just having fun with this.
Yeah, it's a little irreverent, and I like it. So for that, I'm gonna give this one 3.35 piggy bats.
I'm at 3.15 piggy bats.
3.15. Okay.
Yeah.
All right,
moving on. Weird with my numbers.
Moving on to Teen Titans issue 27 by Glass, Chang, Smith, and Mayolo, and Adam Glass, Bernard Chang. This book, it's the fallout of the last issue, but again, it's not a book that's like, okay, what's the story? It's a book that is willing to take the time with the characters, get to know the characters, explore the relationships in between the characters. This one, you get a lot more Jin and Robin. You finally get some backstory on Jin, something I think we've all been waiting on for quite a while. Very interesting backstory, not completely out of what I would have expected for it, but then, you get a little bit more Roundhouse and Kid Flash just kind of getting to know each other, getting to know a little bit more about Roundhouse. And
you get to see a side of Roundhouse, because Roundhouse has usually just been kind of like a punchline, or he's just been a joke, and you actually see a serious moment with him.
You see a vulnerability to him, you know what I mean? And then you also get a little bit between Emmy, Red Arrow, and Crush. And I think this book, what it's best at is just exploring the different character dynamics, character relationships, and the problems all these characters have. They're all obviously flawed people. They're not happy with life, really, I mean, they all have their own problems, and they're all very secretive about it, but they all have to come together, and that's kind of a ticking time bomb, it would seem, but they work it out, and Robin is kind of the worst of the bunch.
Yeah, I like this team, and I feel like a broken record when I talk
Yeah.
about this. I really like this team, and this book kind of is the best way to kind of explain it. Just the cover alone kind of explains why I like this team so much.
I was gonna say
in most team books, they always the team always gets together because there's some kind of big huge problem.
Right. The problem comes first.
Yeah, the problem always comes first, and they have to team up to stop this problem. In this one, you can tell it's just a bunch of dysfunctional people who come together because they need to find an escape, or they need to find an answer of some sort about themselves. It's them forming an alliance with a group of people to kind of forget about their problems, or try to overcome their problems, their personal problems.
Well, what's funny is the way they kind of end up pairing up with each other. They all really
Yeah.
complement each other's weaknesses too. You know what I mean? Like Robin does not want anybody to help him. He's not willing to talk. Jin is kind of this caring, nurturing type. So you put those two together. It's a really good book. I can't recommend it enough. Like we said, it's not a book that puts the problem, conflict, story in the forefront. What it is, it's a book that puts all your characters first. So it's a character exploration. Each book kind of just expands a little bit more and more on who these characters are, what they're hiding from each other, and slowly see them all kind of converging on putting those differences aside, revealing their problems and ultimately befriending each other. And I think it's a really good book. And for that, I'm going to give this one 3.6 piggybacks.
All right, and I am actually going to give it 3.95 piggybacks.
Okay.
I really like the Teen Titans run. I really like that issue.
It's really good. All right, moving on to Stronghold #1 from Aftershock Comics. It's by Phil Hester and Ryan Kelly. And this is a book that's going to be really, really difficult to kind of explain what it's about. And I don't really want to try it. At the surface level, it's basically this guy who may or may not be some sort of messiah, not like a preordained one like in Christian faith or anything like that, but he's a messiah of sorts, and there's this entire organization, Truman Show style, trying to make sure he's just living a very mundane, regular life, and they're kind of pulling all his strings in the background until he starts to kind of realize he can do things that he never knew he could do, or most people can't do, and then it's kind of about him breaking out of it. It's kind of the Truman Show mixed with a little bit of espionage superhero stuff.
Yeah, it's like if Truman Show was done on sci-fi.
I was about to say, like
a
exactly.
sci-fi movie,
or even like
mixed with Truman Show,
or like a Twilight Zone episode a little bit too,
Yeah.
But I don't want to go too much further into that. But what I really do, I like this book. I think the ideas are cool. The concept, it's a high concept style thing of storytelling. But I don't know. There's something about this book that really just I like. I just gravitate towards, and I go, okay, this is something that is my speed, that's up my alley. I don't know exactly what it is. It might be a little bit of the cloak and dagger nature of some of this stuff, but I just really liked this book.
I liked it. This is definitely one of those books where I read it and I go, Jake's going to like this more than I do. I know that. I liked it. I found that my favorite parts in the book, though, was the internal monologue of the main character named Michael.
Yeah.
I really liked it in the beginning. It was just really, it was very deep.
It was.
It was very deep, and I really like those moments, and I hope that this book, the series, has more of those moments, because Phil Hester just really, I don't know if he was just writing from his personal thoughts or he just really got into this character, but those thoughts that he put in there was, the internal monologue was
It's a very
beautiful.
Nihilistic look at things, and
Yeah.
you're right, I really liked that. So I'm going to give Stronghold #1 3.3.
I'm right there with you,
Piggybacks.
actually. I thought we were going to have a different rating, but yeah, 3.3 piggybacks over here, too.
I'm hesitant to go a little bit higher because I feel like there's a couple ways the series can go, and I want to see where it goes first.
Yeah.
All right, and the last issue is Batman 65 by Josh Williamson and is it Corey March? I always forget how
I think it is
his
Corey March.
first name. But this is The Price Part 3. Flash and Batman teaming up to stop Gotham Girl, and is it Gotham? I think his name was
It's
just
Gotham and then Gotham Girl.
Okay, yeah. Batman's stuff, his demons coming back to bite him in the ass. I mean, same shit that we were reading before. Gillum March, by the way.
Well, yeah, it's the whole thing is both of them dealing with demons, because Flash is also dealing with the stuff from Heroes in Crisis a lot.
Yeah, but he's talking about how, I shouldn't let Wally do that, but I only let Wally do that because of Batman. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
So it's
yeah.
like, yeah, Wally fucked up, but it's really because it's Batman.
He's like, I can blame myself, but I'm gonna blame Batman.
No, he is blaming himself, but really, if you think about it, he should be blaming Batman.
Yeah.
And then, Batman created these characters. But again, this is part 3 of 4, and they're still trying to figure out who's pulling Gotham Girl's strings, who's, helping her out, who's doing all this. And I think it's going to be no secret. It's not in this book, so it's not a spoiler, but I don't think it's going to be any secret that it's Bane. Bane has been orchestrating all this crap. He's the reason. Catwoman and Batman didn't get married ever since,
Yeah, but the thing is, though, that's been a Tom King thing. I don't know if Williamson would have wrote that in there, but I wouldn't be surprised.
I think that's what it's going to end up being. But also, I really didn't like the fact that they referenced the button in here. There was like a button reference, and I go, that would absolutely had nothing to do with anything, and no one's talked about it since.
It's just to get you to go back and read the button.
I know, and it just bugged me. But as a story that it's telling, it's fine. I can get through it. I find some enjoyment in it, but it's just not. It's not doing it for me.
I was hoping it would be something bigger, and the same problem I had with the button. I was hoping that it would be something that was more impactful, something that, actually, because it's Heroes in Crisis tie-in, that's how they're selling it. Just like with the button, they sold it as a Doomsday Clock tie-in, and it just was. It's not seeming like it's handing you any kind of information that would help with the Heroes in Crisis. So it's almost feel like it's not really needed as of right now. I won't know until the last issue, but I will say this: I do enjoy this event more than I enjoy the button. I like this one. This one's at least still enjoyable, and I don't really like Gotham and Gotham Girl, but I mean I'm okay with it.
Yeah, I don't like them as characters. My thing is, this issue is just more the same as last issue. You don't really get any new information. It's Batman and Flash having the same conversations, really. It's them having those same conversations, but also just with themselves. And Gotham Girl she's just kind of floating around just the way she was last issue. It's just, what are you going to do about this? It's the same thing that happened last issue, and they're just continuing it, but there's no story elements that are unfolding to make no progression. Thank you. I was looking for the word floundering there. But yeah, I just can't get behind this book, and I really hope that the next installment, which is the final installment, kind of wraps it all up in a way that makes me go, oh, okay, that was actually done pretty well, but that's rarely the case. So for this one, I'm going to go 2.3 Piggy Bats. I'm
going to go up a little bit higher because I do still enjoy this more than I enjoy the button.
Well, I wouldn't give the button nearly that high.
No. I'm going to give this one 2.6.
Okay.
Piggy Bats. My bad. I'm sorry. They just got too. Batman and Flash got too close. We didn't mention that. They got too close in a couple of those panels.
Well, this is where we get our rating system from. He's piggy batting.
Yeah, he's piggy batting on Flash. Yeah. All right, guys.
All right, that is all we've got for you guys this week.
We try to extend it out to 25 minutes at least.
No, there's just no way we can do it. But, last week, Marvel got way more views than DC. I can't see there's a whole lot of things in here that people are going to be looking for. So we hope that you liked what you heard. We tried to go over what we could.
For the 17 people that might listen to this.
Yeah. Guys, as always, let us know what your thoughts are in the comments below. Let's have that conversation. Share this with any of your friends that are reading comic books. That way you can continue on the conversation with them. Subscribe to the channel because we are getting more and more subscribers. We're inching closer to that 1,000. We got it in our sights. And, hit that like button, or feel free to hit that thumbs down button. Either way, you're bringing traffic to the channel, and we appreciate it. But if you guys have not already checked out the Marvel episode, be sure to do that. It's up on the channel now, and we will see you guys next week.